My name is Bill Riddle. Thank you for being here. I am the head coach at the University of Tennessee Southern, coach men and women's tennis, college tennis. I've been fortunate enough to do this, which, what is this? Tennis, basically. I've been fortunate enough to do tennis for 35 plus years now, at the club level, recreational, professional, as well as at the college level. And I say to people all the time, I have literally the best job in the world because I get to do what I love, and my love is tennis and connecting with people. And so hopefully today you walk away with a couple of things. We'll be on court a little bit, but we'll also be kind of taking some of your feedback to really put this into play. So how do we make the most of our practice time? All right, my first question is, what do you do for your practice? What does your practice look like? I know what a college practice looks like at Methodist College, right? But what does your practice look like?
For me, mostly drills.
Drills with what? There's a coach.
Coach, live ball, feed.
Coach, live ball, some feeding, right? Anybody else do anything different?
What do you? I can get anybody to come from the teams I captain.
Right.
I'll pick a few topics and then email that out because some people don't want to do any of this stuff.
Right.
The ones that do will come and then we can work it. So I sort of kind of coach it.
Okay.
Or suggest, like, let's try this, let's try that, and then everybody can just try it. But I'm tired of just going, let's keep score, and nobody does anything. So
right.
I try to avoid that. But I captain, so I can kind of get away with that maybe a little bit.
So it's a little easier for you.
Yeah.
Most of our practices are coach-led, right? It's sign up at 2 o'clock or be here at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday, and this is going to be our practice time. The coach is there. We've got a certain group of people out there, and the coach typically has the layout or the plan for what we're going to be doing. I'm not knocking that, and we need that, right? That is an important piece to this puzzle. But what I'm going to talk about is practice. Anybody remember the old Allen Iverson video, and he was talking about practice? Are we talking about practice? Yeah, we're talking about practice. And for me, your practice time needs to be something you're doing individually, right? What are you doing to make your game better on your own? So it could be as simple as what? Taking a basket of balls out, hitting some serves. How many of us are hitting a basket full of serves once a week?
I was doing that for a while.
I was doing it for a while.
And I was videoing myself, but I live in New York City, so court time's a problem, so I
Okay.
would just sneak on a court after I played a singles match.
Okay. Kudos to you for sneaking on the court. I love that, right? Once a week. What made you stop doing it?
I got injured,
Okay.
so I didn't want to spend that. I didn't take time off. I still played some singles, but I didn't want to add that extra.
That time.
Yeah, and I mean, I've only stopped doing it for like a month.
Okay.
My injury, so I plan to do it again.
But you would do it once a week?
Yeah.
Twice?
I tried to do once a week. I would do more if I could. In the summer, the indoor courts, there were more courts open, so I could do it more in the summer.
And not to put you on the spot, so, and I applaud you going out there with your basket of balls, but you would take a basket of balls. Were there any cones or any targets?
No, because I'm working on changing the technique, so I wasn't really thinking about targets.
Okay, so your target was just get it in the box, right? She's on the right path, but without a target, right? Even with technique, right? And I had a gentleman come in. We were doing little mini lessons today on our courts because we had 9 people, and I did just a private lesson on our court. And every time someone would come over for 15 minutes, we would take one little nugget and we'd kind of work on that. And no matter what we were doing, even with a little technique change, with a grip change or something, we would always have a target. If I don't have a big target, which is the service box, and a smaller target, I'm not really getting there. I'm not making the most of my practice time, okay? So kudos, give yourself a small target. A lot of times we can take our bag, right? Our racket bag, our backpack, throw that out there. If I hit it, great. Okay, so I got a big target and I got a smaller target. Anybody else was doing the buckets of serves? Okay, how often?
At least once a week, if not more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm out there by myself, if it's not my husband and I, if I'm there by myself, I'll do a percentage, 10 serves.
Okay.
What percentage did I get in? That type of thing. Or sometimes I'll play a game with myself. Like I get 2 serves, and then if I win at least one of the 2 serves, then I move over and play. I'm up 15 love.
That is one of the easiest ones, and I love that. And we were talking earlier today, sometimes it is so simple what we need to be able to do, and that if I just go out there by myself, and I don't necessarily have a whole bucket of balls, I could literally just go first serve, didn't get it in, second serve to a target, didn't get it in, I'm down love 15. Okay, I go through my rituals, go through my process, get the balls. Even if I only had 2 balls, I go get them, I come back over here, right? First serve, big target, small target, boom, I hit it, right? Bam, 15 all. The practice has to be something that we're looking to implement into our real matches. And going through a scenario like that where I'm playing the points, even if there's no one over there, that is taking you further down the path. You know, we're getting to where we want to be, hopefully. It's going to take consistency. We got to do that more often. If you're doing that once a week, I'd say please give me twice a week. If you're not doing it at all, folks, I'm just going to be honest with you. And here's one of the things. When I left the country club business, I said to myself, and this is, I almost feel like I'm confessions of a tennis pro. I might need to sit down for this right here. So I said to myself, everyone, I said, you know what? I'm going to be honest all the time. And what do I mean by that? As a country club pro, a lot of times what I had to do was say, this is what we're doing and you're going to be okay. And I couldn't really be honest to say, no, I need you here doing this twice a week. You got to do this if you really want to get better. Luckily, I'm in a scenario right now where I can just be brutally honest. You tell me you want to get better? Great. This is what we got to do, right? I understand it's difficult sometimes, but if you want to get better, these are going to be the steps. So finding your way down that path of just being honest with yourself, finding ways to practice, holding yourself accountable that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do some practicing, hit buckets, hit targets, those type things. I've got to be able to implement that. Now, let's take a step back. What is pre-practice? Making a plan? Okay, I'll take that. That's part of pre-practice. What else? What was that? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we all know there's this other sport out there called pickleball, right? And I was the guy years ago that hated pickleball, right? And now I'm a guy, I like pickleball, it's okay. Here's what I hate about pickleball. Pickleball people never prepare for a match, right? They just walk out, they get out of the car, they walk in, they grab their paddle, they do this a couple of times, and then they play, right? Tennis people are not that bad. We're kind of close to that, right? But that's my point. What does pre-practice look like? Our players at the college level have a better understanding of that, not because they want to, right? But because we make them do that. I've got to get my body and my mind ready to practice. So there's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of warming up my body, warming up my feet, getting my mind right, hand-eye coordination drills. All those different things kind of lead up to me getting to practice. Because have you ever gone to your practice time and you've been like, that wasn't so good? You're shaking your head, yes. What makes it not so good? Was it the thing that the coach did? Or is it more what we did, not being engaged or ready? Okay, and so if we want to be better, and we all do, you wouldn't be here if you didn't want to do that, we have to spend more time with a bit of pre-practice. Get your body, get your mind warmed up. What would that look like? I have my 4 people here. Jump out here on the court. Okay? And so line up, and some of you saw this before, but let's line up on the doubles line, and all we're going to do is shuffle across, right? Shuffle across. Go. Shuffle across. Good. Come back. Now let's do a karaoke going back across. All right, stop right there. By yourself, if you just did that, I would be happy. Okay? I would really be happy because there was something done. What else could I do by myself before the practice started? A little bit of dynamic stretching. Okay, so high knees coming across. Ready to go. High knees coming across. Butt kicks going back across. at a bare minimum, you know, and maybe I'm like, I don't want to be out in the middle of everybody. The rest of the girls are kind of coming in. The rest of the team is here. I'm just going to do this on court 7 behind the curtain myself, and then I'm going to come back out there. But there's got to be some kind of activity done before I actually get to the court. We do a really good job of that here at the Tennis Congress, don't we? Because we got Dom and we got Richard and we got other people out there helping you through that process. You've got to help yourself when you get to that court or to your practice time, okay? So thank you, gang. Pre-practice. Have you ever watched, excuse me, have you ever gone to pro tournaments? Who's gone to a pro tournament? U.S. Open, whatever. Where have you been?
Roland Garros and US Open.
Okay. Who else? Anybody been to Cincinnati? To that tournament? Western and Southern? You good? Okay. Really great access to the practice courts there. Indian Wells, amazing access to the practice there, right? I see you raise your hand over there. What do you see when you go to a pro tournament and you're watching the pros practice?
Repetition.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
They practice one skill ceaselessly.
Over and over and over. I always find it so fascinating that players, recreational players, will come to us coaches and say, this is what I need to do, right? And we say, okay, well, can you hit 20 balls in a row cross court? No, maybe, I don't know. Do I need to? Okay, so if the pros, and you're dead on, if the pros are out there doing the basics over and over and over, just hitting balls cross court, just hitting, you watch the doubles players a lot, and they'll section off parts of the court and they're just hitting into the alley. They're rallying into the alley. They'll go down the line right into the alley. They're finding spots on the court and they're just getting really, really good at that one shot so that when I need it, it's there for me, right? But as recreational players, a lot of times we just don't do that. We don't take the simple basics and get really, really good at that. So that would be one of my nuggets. I would say, gang, when you leave here, go back, get really, really good at one of the basics. Keeping it simple. You've heard that before. Keep it simple, stupid, right? The KISS method, that's it, right? Whether it be out of the hand or just you. And I think Fernanda touched on that the other day when she did a presentation. I don't know if you heard her. She was talking about the pros because she's out there on the tour literally just bounce feeding balls to themselves to get the feel of the ball, to get a ton of balls into a location. We feel like there has to be smoke and mirrors and all these, you know, the fireworks and stuff for us to be really good at something. But the reality is I just need a lot of the basics. All right, so pre-practice is going to be what for us more now going forward? It's going to be us coming up with a bit of a plan. And I'll tell you this, everyone got the Tennis Congress little journal, right? How many of you keep that in your bag and you put notes into it from this weekend? Anybody been writing stuff down? You're on the phone using it? Anybody use that little journal? That right there is so, so powerful, right? Because you put what's happening, good and bad, into that. We go back and we look at that. We take that information and that's what we implement into our practices, right? That's what we should be looking at. Well, okay, in the last match or in the last practice session, I didn't do this very well, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to put this into my next practice, and that's what I'm going to do. So keeping up with your notes, keeping up with what you're doing and how you're doing it is going to be really, really critical. I would love to see in a year, 6 months, whatever, you've filled up that booklet with tidbits, notes, or how about scores? How many of you are playing league matches, right? USTA maybe, right? Do you ever see the same players over and over when you play them? Okay. Have you ever lost to somebody and then said, I really want to beat that girl? I won't use any other words. I really want to beat that girl, right? Well, okay, my question as a coach to you, did you make any notes about how you played that day? Did you write down the score so you have an idea of, okay, well, this is what the score was last time. This is what she did well. This is what I did well. A lot of times we go to, my serve was off. I double faulted a bunch, right? We go straight to the negatives. We let that sit right here, which weighs on us, and we've heard that before, right? But what did I do really well? I want to know as a coach, when you come off that match, all right, what did you do that worked for you? because maybe we just didn't do that enough. Maybe we needed to spend more time opening the court, closing in, because you were doing a great job of closing in, and finishing points at the net. Maybe we just only did that 3 or 4 times. Maybe we need to do that more often. So that's going to go into your notebook. That's going to be used. So you go, okay, well, I did this well. Boom, I can do some more of that in practice. Or this is what I didn't do so well. That definitely goes into my practice time. Okay? All right. You're going to absolutely hate me for this, right? But this is the honest truth you're ever going to find, right? And you talk to our players on our college team right now. They hate it, but it makes a difference. 1 ball. What do I mean by 1 ball? You take 1 ball out of the basket, and that's going to be our warm-up. Can I have 2 volunteers? You get 1 ball, and all I want you to do is go service line to service line with this 1 ball. Rally. 1 ball rally. That's it. Service line to service line. You miss it, you got to go get that ball. You only get 1. Here we go. Let's see how many they make versus how many they miss. Okay? And why am I doing this? Because I know for 100% certainty that if I give you 1 ball, you do not want to go chase it, do you? What are you doing? What are they dialed? They're dialed in right now, aren't they? 1, they're nervous because they're on camera, right? And if they miss, it's going to be all over the world. But then 2, you're watching, right? And then 3, they only got that 1 ball. They don't want to be the guy who misses. They don't want to be the guy who has to go get the ball, right? So could we do this ourselves? Would it be fun? Maybe not at first. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm not going to let you miss, right, and embarrass you, all right? But the 1 ball warm-up, yeah, give them a good hand for that because no one made a mistake. So 1 ball warm-ups. The easiest thing you can implement into your game on Monday, right? And you hear our coaches talk about that. How do we give you something that on Monday affects how you're playing and what you're doing, right? 1 ball warm-ups, okay? You are going to find that at first you're like, oh, this isn't so good. I've made some mistakes. I got to go get it, right? 1 ball warm-ups will make you better because why? Because why? Sydney, help me out here.
It's the pressure of keeping that ball in play.
Were you more dialed in, Andrew?
Definitely.
Okay.
Still on forward. I'm not doing that if I have 6 balls.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the other side of the coin, though, right? If I've got a basket of balls, I know, and I'm putting myself in the same thing. I know that if I make a mistake, well, oh well, I'll just go get another ball, right? Next thing you know, we got 45 balls out here, right? And have we really done much? Chased a lot of balls, right? And if you've been on our court in any time this weekend, right, with Carla and Emma and myself, we're talking about 4 balls, right? Making 4 balls go in play. And we struggled with that, didn't we, a little bit? Making 4 balls in a point. First 4 balls of the point had to be in. And we struggled with that. And if we go back to looking at situations like this in a practice environment, just a friend, whatever, hitting ball after ball after ball with only 1 ball is going to make you better. Anybody do that right now? Do you guys do that with your college team? Do you like it? No. Anything that makes you better, we don't really like, do we? No, we don't. So ideally, if I let our college players go practice, you know what they would do? Take a wild guess what they would do.
Crush balls from the baseline, never come to them.
Crush balls? Have you ever been to one of our practices? Because it sounds like you have.
No,
Right? But you can understand, if I left it up to them, right, and I didn't set a path for them, they would get out of the van, they'd get to the courts, they would do a little of this, and these are good players, right? They're here playing scholarship tennis, college tennis, they know the deal, right? But they're all get a little bit lazy, as we all do. There wouldn't be really much pre-practice, pre-warm-up, right? And they would go, maybe 2 balls from the service line, right? And then they go back here. They wouldn't be at the baseline crushing balls. My guys and girls would be like 8 feet back, ripping balls from here. Because this is where they want to be. This is their comfort zone. And I get it. I get it, right? But it ain't going to make us any better, right? So practice has to be things that we don't like doing. We have to do things in practice that we do not like to do, right? What does your ideal practice look like? Who hasn't said anything yet? My man in the back. What does your ideal practice look like for you? And the one that you go, man, I feel great coming out of here.
I guess when I feel like I've developed something that I really wanted to work on, like my forehand or something like that, that I felt needed some work.
Okay.
I felt like I had a good rapport with my partner. I was playing well, moving well. Good feeling afterwards.
But what did you actually do to get that good feeling? I understand the good feeling.
It's kind of like being in the flow, like being in the zone, that you can hit almost any ball, and get any ball.
So you found a rhythm?
Yeah.
How'd you find the rhythm?
Just by getting out of my head and getting into the game.
Ooh, wait a minute. I like that one. Let's unpack that one for a second. He's getting out of his head, right? And we talked a little bit about that on our court today as well. It is not, you were with me. How do we get outside of this right here? These negative thoughts or what we feel like we should or should not be doing, right? And just stick to one thing. When we were working on your backhand, what did we do? We went all the way back to the very basics of where are his feet when he actually made contact? Not the swing. And we had to go all the way back to the very beginning, right? And we may have to do that for our practice time as well, so we get the most out of it. Go back to the utmost basics at the very beginning. Get really, really comfortable. Find your flow. Find a rhythm. Get out of your head and get really, really comfortable with striking balls and then move from there, okay? A lot of times with our camps, and I know when I was at the clubs, the thought was that the drills needed to be bigger and better and this and that. And really, at the end of the day, the simpler it is, the better it's going to be for you. And that's kind of goes maybe contrary to what we're thinking. It's like, the drill has to be this, that, and this. It really doesn't. It just has to be very, very efficient and very, very practical. Okay? All righty, so let's go through some scenarios. So let's say let's check our time. We've got a few minutes. So let's say we're going to go practice for 30 minutes, right, by yourself. What would you do in those 30 minutes? What would you do in 30 minutes? If I said, you go practice for 30 minutes, what would you do? The serve. Okay. What if you had somebody out there with you? What would you do? What?
The chip shot.
Chip, okay.
Or underspin.
Okay. So here's the deal. How would that, what would it look like to do that? How would you set it up? You want to work on a chip or a slice, right?
Yeah.
How could I make that work? Can I have my 2 volunteers come back? Okay, so Andrew, you're going to hit the ball with topspin. Matt, you're just going to slice the ball back, okay? So you're a righty? Lefty. So let's just go to this side over here, okay? So Matt, here's the deal though. I want you to move up a little bit to the service line. Andrew, I want you to move up to the service line. So always, always, and forever, start short. Start small and then work from there, okay? So because we know that distance, baseline to baseline, is a bit more challenging, isn't it? If I'm way out there, baseline to baseline, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Let's get good here. So if I'm you, so I'm going to say, all I want is good motion through the ball. I know it's a little dark in here, but good motion high to low through the ball. And I'm going to ask Andrew to try to give me as much spin as he can so that I'm able to work on that. Okay, it's a little tough. Here we go. You got another ball? And for this one, since we're kind of being a little bit more specific, it's not just warm up, I'm going to let him have a couple extra balls. Okay? Now, here's the deal. I want to do this multiple ways. So we're going straight up the court. Now let's go cross court, deuce court to deuce court. If you would, slide on over. Deuce court to deuce court. How long would we do this? Few minutes, 10 minutes, however much time you have. Then we're going to go add court to add court. Go over add court to add court if you would. Add court to add court. Good. And now we'll start to move back to the baseline, right? Progression. Everything we're going to do is going to be in a progression. So now we'd go back baseline to baseline from the center. Then we would transition over to deuce court to deuce court, and then add court to add court. I took probably 30 minutes to do all of what you just asked, working on your slice or your chip. But the key was I did it in a progression. Does that make sense? If you went out there and you went straight baseline to baseline, what's going to happen is you're going to get really frustrated kind of quick because you're not getting the ball that you're looking for or that feels good to you. Okay? So when you go out there and you do these practices on your own, remember progression. Start short, move back, cover all areas of the court. Right? If I'm a doubles player, one of the best things you can do for yourself is let's go cross court, alley to alley. So Andrew, go over into that alley with the deuce court alley. I want the ball to land in the alley every single time. We talked about big targets, didn't we? We talk about small targets. The big target is, we might have to move those balls. Let's slide those over. He was debating, should he move them or is he good enough to not? I'm going to bet he's not good enough. Here we go. So the alley is your target. Cross court is your big target. The alley is your small target. Okay? And so if I'm out there practicing with my friend Sarah, I'm going to count how many balls did I get into the alley. How many balls did she get into the alley? And we know who wins that practice then, right? All right, hold up 1 second. So then we go to the other side, right? Because we want to be balanced. We want to have it on both sides. But a lot of times we're just not using the court that we have, are we? Now, how many of you play, hang on 1 second, guys. How many of you play on a court that has the transition lines on them, the blue lines, the extra blue lines? I'm not talking about the pickleball court. I'm talking about the transition lines for the 10 and unders. A couple of you? Okay. Did you know what those lines really are? No, nice guess. You did not win the beer. Okay? I'm going to give you a whole case of beer if you get this. Get this question right. Give me the answer I'm looking for. What are those lines actually for you on the tennis court? You're going to get a case of beer and a hug. Okay? That's how happy I am right now. What did you say? Those are your targets, right? Your opponents don't realize this. When I'm playing a match on a court that has transition lines on them, and folks, I use this all the time. Whenever our college team plays on a court that has transition lines on them, I'm super excited because I know what that means for us. I know that when we're playing doubles, I can say to the guys or the girls, I need every ball outside the blue line. You know why? Because we practice that. Those are our targets. So when we go to a court like that, we've got it, right? Those become your targets. So now what happens in your match is I'm not playing against Sarah. I'm hitting the ball that comes to me to my target. And my target is outside that blue line or behind the blue line. Could that work for you? Have you anybody done that before? One. I'm going to tell you, that's the easiest thing you can do to get better. You're doing it tomorrow.
I'm getting invited on a court that has one, and they're all complaining about it, so now I'm like, oh, okay.
It kills me when people say, yeah, I've heard that before. They're like, either one, they had no idea that there was actually blue lines out there. They're so oblivious to the court actually having the lines. Or they're like, oh, these things bug me so much. I'm like, fantastic. Not only are you frustrated, but now our team, we're using this to our advantage, right? We're dialed in on hitting balls to those lines because those are just like cones that you don't have to worry about tripping over, right? All right. I don't want you to miss the amazing lunch that's coming. So I'm staying on time here. Situational point play. What do I mean by that? Situational point play. What does that mean to you?
At a certain score, how you play it.
Okay. It could be a certain score, or it could be, what else?
Practicing the average amount of balls would really be in a point versus something that's not.
Oh, could be like playing more balls in the point, right? So I've got to hit 4 balls in behind the service line before the point actually starts. Okay? So my practice, we're out there hitting balls together. Great, we're going. There has to be 4 balls land behind the service line before the point actually begins. And now we take off. What does that make us do? Not miss the first 4 shots, right? And we know this because the studies and the information shows us that the average length of the shot or the point is what? 0 to 4. So if I can, in practice, make the first 4 balls and then I start the point, guess what? I'm already a winner, right? So situational point play, if you're not implementing that into your practice or you're not using that piece, then we have to. All right? The easiest one is 1 serve. All right, so we're going to play and you only get 1 serve. Right? How does that make you feel, Matt?
Stressed.
Stressed. He is stressed. I am super excited. Right? Because should he be stressed when he's hitting a second serve and you guys are watching and there's a lot on the line? Probably. So I'm creating a situation in practice that makes him replicate the same thing when he's going to have in a real match. So, Matt, you've only got 1 serve and you got to play this out. So let's see what it looks like. 1 serve and then we're going to play. Go for it. Was it in? No. It was out. He's bummed. I'm super excited, right? Because I need him to feel the stress. I need him to be under that pressure, right? That's situational point play. 1 serve, or Matt, here's the deal. I want you to feed the ball in, right? And the feed has to go past the service line. Your second shot has to go past the service line, and then you can play. All right, ready, go. So he feeds it in. The feed has to be past the service line. The second ball has to go past the service line. And then now he can play it for real. Okay? What are we doing by that? What are we trying to ensure by balls past the service line?
You're not putting yourself in danger.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
You're not setting them up for a shot that they can't move it.
Okay, Sydney, you're on the right path here. So if Matt has to hit the ball past the service line twice, what are we doing to Andrew? Pushing him back or ensuring that he stays back so that I get the opportunities that I'm looking for. Because my coach said, I'd love to see you go to the net, right? My coach said, I'd like to see you finish points at the net, right? Well, how do I get to that point, right? So that I can do what coach wants me to do, or I can do what I would like to do. Well, I go back to practice scenarios where it's situational point play, right? And I could have done this with the serve. We're doing it with just the feed. 2 balls deep, even better. Remember we had those transition lines out there? Okay, we put those. Now, Matt, you've got to hit 2 balls beyond the blue line, the transition line, which is around 60 feet before the point starts. Well, now we just dialed up the pressure even more, didn't we? Now he has to really push Andrew back before he can come forward. Make sense? Use what you've got. I only have 1 person go out there with me, right? I'm a doubles player. I need to get better at opening the court. Great. Here's what we're going to do. Bada bing, bada boom. Now we're off and running. So if I write that down in my journal, now I can go back and put that into play. I think one of the things, too, that we do not do quite well enough is watch matches. What do I mean by that? Watch other people. You watch pro tennis, right? Which is a little unrealistic, right? Because the ball is just so dang fast, right? And so good. But are you watching other people play that are at your same level, whatever that level is? Are you looking at what they're doing? To me, that is the best practice of all. Going, watching those guys or those girls that you're going to be playing, play a few points, right? What do they tend to do? Am I seeing that from the sidelines? And if I can see that from the sidelines, guess what's going to happen when it comes time to play? Now I'm a little bit more in tune with what they're doing, right? So that's big, big part of this, watching matches. Now, how many of you play practice matches? Now, I'm not talking about tournaments. I'm not talking about league matches. I'm talking about a practice match where there's nothing on the line other than we're playing. How often do you do it a week?
Probably at least once a week.
Once a week? Did you raise your hand?
Yeah, once or twice.
Once or twice? Once a week?
Like 3 or 4 times a week.
We're now best friends. Okay?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
3 to 4. Okay? Playing college tennis, how many practice matches are you playing a week?
1 or 2, I'd say.
1 or 2? Okay. At an absolute minimum, gang, just being brutally honest, if you're not playing 2 practice matches a week, you're just not going to get any better. At a bare minimum, right? And I hear this all the time, especially from like the junior side of things. Well, what should I do to get better? Well, what's the one thing I can do to get better, right? And if you're a competitive tennis player, play more practice matches, right? But if you do that, if you play the practice match, here's what you have to do as a follow-up. Write down how you played, what went well, what didn't, right? What was the score? So the next time you play that practice match, I've got some data, right, to look at am I improving, am I not? Okay? We talked about serve baskets, right? Going out there, easiest way to get better. Multiple baskets. If you could serve 1 basket of balls every time you went to the court to play, to do your lessons, to do your drills, to whatever, right? Would you get better? Every time you went to the court, 1 extra basket. How long do you think it takes to serve 1 whole basket? 10 minutes. I feel like one of those used car salesmen right now on late night TV. For just 10 minutes, you can be a better tennis player, right? Question.
Is it true you're supposed to get 70% of your first serves in?
Well, I would love to see a much higher percentage, right? I mean, I'd love 80, 90%. I don't ever want you to miss the first serve. But if you could, if we go back, how am I going to get to 70%? How am I going to get to 60%? That's what I'm talking about here. If I don't practice that, if I don't practice 1 ball, if I don't play those practice matches, which has added pressure, I'm never going to get to 50%, I'm never going to get to 60% or 70%, right? And the 1 serve, gosh, the power in the 1 ball warm-up and the power in the 1 serve, I'm going to play and I only get 1 serve. I'm going to play an entire set and I only get 1 serve. My guys, when we're lucky because our guys and girls get to practice together a lot. It's fantastic because the girls have to deal with a heavier, faster ball. It's great for the guys because girls are way smarter than guys. Sorry, guys, but girls are just way smarter than us, right? And they're crafty, and they find ways to win points because they're not going to overpower you. And it makes my guys think, right? Which guys don't really think, do we? Until you're about 60, and then it's too late, right? Right? Remember, you paid for the camp. The jokes are free, right? So yeah, I mean, I want you to play with 1 serve. I want you to practice with 1 ball. I want you to get comfortable in pressure situations from a practice scenario so that when you get to the match, there's nothing that's bothering you. Nothing at all. Questions on anything we talked about today? This is your chance. I know I covered a lot. It's a short amount of time. What is our takeaway from today? Go ahead. That is a fantastic question. The question is, if I don't have someone to hit with, another live body, right? How can I use the ball machine most effectively? Well, it starts off with I've got to have targets, right? The other thing is, most of the time I see the ball machine comes out, we put it in the middle of the court, and we just feed balls, right, to one location, and we hit that. That's okay, but I've got to transition to something more difficult. I want to see the ball come from a different location. So if I'm a deuce court player, a lot of times, I want the ball to come from that angle. The thing that kills me the most is when I watch instructional stuff sometimes, and I watch people practice, and inevitably I see a ball, come from the chair over there, and I hit it down the line. I don't know about you guys, but I've never played a match where the ball came from the stands and I had to hit it down the line. Okay? The ball comes from somewhere off or on the court, right? From an angle generated by the court. So the ball machine needs to come cross court. I work on my direction, I work on my targets and my location from there, and then I move the ball machine over. If you've got one of those ball machines that has random setting on it, oh, even better. Because random is what you're going to get in a match, okay? If you're not practicing against random, you're going to struggle. So I need ball machine, location, speeds, spins, use everything that it's got. Okay, that's a great question. Another question. What is our one takeaway from today? Sydney, what's your one takeaway?
Something to incorporate when I go back is play some practice matches where I only give myself one serve.
Easiest, nice job, easiest way to get better. I go back, I play a practice match, and I only have one serve. Are you going to be frustrated?
Yes.
Probably so. And I'm telling you now, you're going to get frustrated, but you got to do it more than just once, right? Anybody else? Takeaway. What are you going to do?
Slow progress, or from like the service line, and then go back to the baseline
Okay.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Start simple. Start here. Look, if I can't hit 10 balls from here, I can't hit 10 balls from back there where we're going to be playing. If I can't hit 4 from here, I'm not going to hit 4 from back there. I've got to hit 100 balls from here so that I can get back to here and hit 50 or 60. So I can get back here and hit 20 or 30, right? It's a process. Any other takeaways? Yes, ma'am.
Do things in practice that you really don't want to do.
Do things in practice that you don't want to do. Well, it kind of goes back to one of the things I said earlier today or this week, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, right? I don't want to do this, but if I don't do it, if I'm not uncomfortable now, I'm going to be really uncomfortable when it's match time and everybody's watching. And by the way, yeah, the match is on the line, and if we don't win this match, then the girls are going to probably kick me off the team. Okay, not that that's ever happened in ladies club tennis, ever, right? Because they're all so welcoming, inviting, and it's just like all kumbaya, and we're having a good time. So, hey, real quick, hand for my guys over there. Andrew, Matt, they did a great job. They are not going to get a bonus, but they did a great job. So, gang, thank you so much. Enjoy your lunch. I'm around. If you want to follow on Instagram, it's Bill Riddle Official. I put a ton of tips out there. Love for you to follow along, and just appreciate your time. So thank you.